Did you like it when you first saw it?
No, I didn't like it.
Of course you wouldn't. You were immediately told like this is not James Bond.
Walk me through music. The lack of music.
9 minutes and 47 seconds of no music. Welcome back to another episode of Reel Chums. We're chatting about movies. Feels like hanging out with friends. I'm your host, Marcel, and with me as always is my co-host, Danny.
This week we're going to be discussing Mission Impossible, directed by Brian De Palma and written by David Coep and Robert Towne. Based on the classic television series, the film stars Tom Cruise, John Voight, Emmanuel Barrett, Vin Rames, and Jean Reno.
In this episode, we're going to discuss Ethan Hunt's first cinematic mission, the film's complex plot twist, and how it sets the tone for future installments. We're revisiting this 1996 classic as we gear up for the release of Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. That's out this weekend. But before we roll the intro, if you enjoy what we do and want to support us, head over to reelchums.com. That's REELCHUMS.com, where you can donate any amount, whether that's $1, $5, whatever you want to do to show your support. We are always grateful and happy to hear from all of you guys.
It helps to keep the lights on, honestly.
Yeah.
And we love if you follow us on YouTube at Reel Chums and all other socials to join in on the conversation. With that being said,
let's roll that intro. Hey, Danny, question of the day. Between Ethan Hunt, Tom Cruise, Jason Bourne, Matt Damon, and Pierce Brosnan's James Bond, who wins?
who wins in a fight?
Yeah.
Jason Bourne.
And let's talk about this version of Ethan Hunt.
This version.
Yeah.
It's
1996 first Mission Impossible Ethan Hunt.
Okay, and then first Jason Bourne's movie, the Bourne Supremacy, is that what
Bourne
it is?
Identity,
Bourne
the first
Identity.
one.
Yeah, and then
Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye.
I'd probably say Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt?
Yeah.
You want to go on record saying this? The man who in the third act gets pushed around by 60-something-year-old John Voight.
That's right.
You think he would win a fight against...
I'm so caught up with Mission Impossible. The amount of Mission Impossible movies, I can't even... No way.
Ethan Hunt is the first one to go out, man.
He is. It's got to be Bourne.
It's Bourne, yeah.
But I was going to say Bourne initially, but then I was like, no, because in the Bourne, I know just the Bourne movie,
yeah,
where that I just still can't get over the fact that Matt Davis is he's boxing and then one guy comes up and he just one punches him, and I'm like, oh my gosh! But I just think he's yoked in that one.
Oh, dude, those movies are great.
Dude, they really are. I actually started the Bourne Identity like a month ago, and I was like, I really want to watch it, but like they're movies that you have to you got to lock in.
Yes.
You have to lock in.
You can't have it playing in the background.
You cannot.
You have to focus on those.
Yes. Also, I think we don't get as much fighting in the first one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We get it more in the later ones.
Yeah.
The second one, man. Oh no, the Bourne Ultimatum, the window out of the window into another window, that scene.
Oh, okay.
Is that Bourne Ultimatum?
I think you're thinking of the Bourne Legacy.
No.
With Jeremy Renner?
Yeah, but I think there's an intercut scene with Jeremy Renner and that scene.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner is in the Bourne Legacy.
No, I know.
Okay.
I'm saying I think the scene that I'm thinking of is Bourne's Ultimatum.
Okay. I need to watch them.
You need to watch them again.
I've just added them to my watch list because Andor came to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And so I'm like on this Tony Gilroy.
Oh, nice.
Fix.
Okay.
I rewatched Michael Clayton, which continues to be just...
Dude, that movie's great.
A freaking incredible movie. I love Michael Clayton. When I first watched it, I don't think
I know
it didn't hit me as hard as it does now. But I just love it. Anyway, so...
I love a good movie that ages well.
But Bourne Legacy is the one that Tony Gilroy directed and wrote, because he wrote these, and there was some drama there with how he wrote these three. But anyway, so I've added Bourne Legacy because I've never seen it, and I'm like, look, I gotta give Tony Gilroy, my homie, I gotta give him his due diligence. I was always against this movie because it didn't have Matt Damon, but like maybe I just.
I remember liking it. I know people will probably hate me for saying that, but I remember enjoying it. I'm a fan of Jeremy Renner, and I thought it was an interesting take. I think they were trying to do something more, and I think that there was just not. They took a swing that I just didn't land, which is fine.
Okay.
Sorry. Quick little note on Born.
There's a quick review on Born Legacy.
Okay, back to Tom Hanks.
Tom Cruise.
Man, for this next week, man, we watched 2 movies with Toms.
Yes. Oh, that's not a good idea. Look, back to Tom Cruise, the first Mission Impossible. Look, I'm excited for Dead Reckoning. Final Reckoning.
Final Reckoning, bro.
And it felt like a timely time to come back and revisit the first one.
For sure.
To see how they conclude the Mission Impossible saga as we revisit this first one.
Check out our episode on Dead Reckoning right here.
Dead Reckoning.
Yes.
Too many.
I know. Well, there was a whole fiasco with the 2.
Part 1.
Yeah, the part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
And then delaying it. Oh, man.
Okay, if you're one of those people that hasn't seen this first one, here's a quick synopsis. Ethan Hunt, a top agent for the Impossible Mission Force, IMF, becomes a fugitive after a mission in Prague goes horribly wrong. With his team dead and the agency believing he's a traitor, Hunt must uncover the mole who framed him while pulling off one impossible heist after another. I forget that this, at its core, is a heist movie.
Dude, at the core, bro.
And
it's a heist movie.
Great heist movie.
Dude, up there, man. Up there in one of the greats. This movie, my relationship with movies is a little messed up because I didn't watch it. I had not watched Mission Impossible 1 until after Mission Impossible 3.
Oh, really?
Yes, I know. This is a little bit of
So you watched the third one first.
I watched second first.
Okay.
I know. I know. And so, like, it just lived in its own thing. I'm like, what is this movie?
Yeah.
Tom Cruise with his long hair.
Love that long hair. I do. I'll be honest.
It is some good. I'm not gonna lie. He kind of brings it back in.
He's bringing it back in this one.
Yeah.
In Dead Reckoning.
And he brought it back in when he's Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation, yes.
Yeah. Right. Anyways, it's just the vibe. I love this like duality of like, when I'm part of IMF. They gotta go regulation cut when I'm out there in the wild. Anyways, no, or on his vacation. Anyways, but so Mission Impossible 2, then Mission Impossible 3 came out, and I was obsessed.
Yeah.
I was like, this movie is amazing. Could not watch the movie like 4 times in theaters.
And then you went back and watched.
And then I went back and watched this.
The first one. Did you like it when you first saw it? No.
I didn't like it.
Of course you wouldn't. You adrenaline junkie after watching the second and the third one. God, there's not enough motorcycles.
I need more explosion.
I need longer hair. Okay, but now...
Dude, this movie... And maybe, again, I don't know if it's my maturity. I mean, I was a kid.
Yeah.
This movie is a mature... Like, this movie has this, like, level of, like, there's, like, if you're not, like, tied into things, if you miss... You're dozing out, you're getting distracted or whatever. No, this movie ain't landing.
Yeah.
You have to be locked in.
Yeah.
You got to be following what's happening. This movie ages so well. In fact, this watch, I like it, like solidified it even more as one of the greatest, like just great action film, great Tom Cruise film.
Yes.
The excitement for me to watch Final Reckoning just completely solidified.
I love this movie. I saw it as 96. So I was like 7 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say like 8 years old, 7?
7.
You go to theaters?
Yeah, my mom took me and my siblings to go see it in theaters.
Because she wanted to see that Tom Cruise, baby.
Of course.
Of course.
My dad was working. She's like, let's go see Mission Impossible.
No le digas a papá.
And I remember as a 7-year-old, I was just like, I probably shouldn't have been watching this as a 7-year-old.
Oh, absolutely not. But
I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I didn't pick up on a lot of things, but
Of course.
the idea of like the masks,
Oh yes.
right? Him hanging from a wire in this room.
Very Star Warsy.
Oh, you think so? The set design?
No, just that one room. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a-
yeah,
the set design for that one room.
Yeah, it does kind of look Star
It's
Wars.
very imperial.
Yeah, CIA represents the Empire here. We're gonna get tagged.
Everyone's listening.
But no, it just it captivated me right from the beginning. I was
Yeah.
like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
Like, and I think maybe I had seen some James Bond movies at the time. I can't remember. But like it captivated me, and I was like, this is incredible. I want more of this.
Yeah.
So I've always loved this first one. I think the older I get, I appreciate it and I like it more. Yes, like it has its little quirks and whatnot, but like I really really love it, and I would have loved to have had Brian De Palma come back to direct another one.
I agree. You know what? I love that you said, I think the older you get, the more I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think there is no sentiment. This movie specifically, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because as you get older, you understand the level of stakes or the like, you know, the references, this like, what is like, I think it's a really great, I know this is like a hyper focused, I mean, it's a spy film, like, you know, like, I'm not a spy, I'm not going in, whatever. But it's like a work, we're being dropped into a work environment.
Yeah.
And it's a work movie that turns into a heist movie.
There's so many dynamics here within the characters. I love that the movie just starts off in this mission. Right?
In the mission.
We have no context whatsoever. We don't know who's who. We don't know what the purpose of this mission is. We just know that they're trying to extract some information from this guy, and it's all staged, the sets, the mask. And I love that. We talk about this a lot about just dropping us into a movie, but it adds to like the world building. You don't need to explain what the IMF is. You don't need to tell me who's who, right? And we learn bits and pieces of that as they prepare for the Prague mission. But like we are just dropped into that first sequence, and it's incredible. Immediately the action starts, the mask comes off, and you're immediately told like this is not James Bond. Like this is going to be a really well filmed movie.
You know what? You said talking through this made me realize there's like some good parallels to Back to the Future in the sense of like how they're structuring a little bit of some of the stuff.
Okay.
Like we open up cold open, right? We're getting dropped in like you said. We then get the trigger situation of Voight's character Jim Phelps dying, and then them getting scattered by the rest of the crew getting killed, and Ethan Hunt having to try to figure out what the freaking went wrong, right?
Yeah,
and then escalation the rest of the film.
Mm-hmm. And it's a perfect way of building tension, of doing setups with payoffs. And I think it's a wonderful way to structure a spy film, right? Because I think a lot of times with spy movies, you get setups, but you get quick releases of like James Bond is stuck in this situation, but it's a good thing he has a remote control car that he can control with his cell phone, right?
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's being put into situations where it's like, oh crap, like how is this going to pay off? Like how is this? We're just building more suspense and tension upon tension.
I think what I love about what level of Mission Impossible of like expectations and the level of tension that is brought has to do with a conversation that we know is leading to some kind of that needs to find a resolution, or that there's going to be an obstacle, right? Ethan goes in to talk to Kittredge,
Yeah.
our boy Henry
Cerny.
Cerny, coming in, freaking setting the stage, and just his performance.
It's so good. And I'm glad that we got him back.
I'm so glad.
I'm so glad that we got him back.
Yeah, of him trying to, he understands what kind of agent this is.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to not set him off, and the rising stakes throughout the entire conversation. We also get the conversation with Ethan and Max. He needs funds. He needs the blacklist, the knock list.
Which I forget how often that trope is used in spy movies. Wasn't there a James Bond movie that did Skyfall?
Yes. Skyfall.
Yeah.
The knock.
That's right. Yeah.
But it's a thing.
It's a thing.
And legit, in real life, there's been knock lists that have been released.
No, it's really great. And I love how it's structured. I love the tension. I love, maybe we can jump into this, but like Brian De Palma as a director.
Yeah.
Look, Brian De Palma, very violent director, obsessed with like paranoia. Even like some of his movies are, dip a little bit into like the voyeurism of sexuality and whatnot. And to choose him to direct this, I absolutely love, because there is something that this movie does that none of the others have successfully done. And it's creating that tension of paranoia. The other ones do it through the story,
and obstacles.
But he does it through camera work. And I just absolutely love that. Because there are times where we get these long takes of just characters looking at each other, and that scene after they've heisted, is that the right word? After they stole in the list, right? And they're all sitting in the fire truck, and it comes in, they're driving away, they're all sitting on a bench inside the fire truck, and it just slowly look at each other. You have Claire looking over at Jean Reno's character. He's just kind of driving away, and like something's off, but like why? And should I be concerned? Should I trust these people? And you can get these wonderful takes of, again, Claire and what's Jean Reno's character's name? I forgot.
Krieger.
Of Krieger, right? So you get these wonderful takes of Claire and Krieger just looking at each other, and it's like, and especially when you've seen it once and you go back and watch it, you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here, right? Yeah. And I just love that. I love that the movie creates this suspense and this paranoia, not by telling me or by giving me obstacles or whatnot, but like through camera work. And I just think that's something that Brian De Palma does incredibly efficiently here.
Yes.
And it's just, I wish more of these Mission Impossible movies would do that.
Yeah, they try to do it in other films, and I mean, like in our when we were talking about Dead Reckoning, we're like, did they go too heavy-handed with the Dutch angle?
Oh yeah,
right. And I remember thinking, like they I think they did. I don't think I in the initial watch and like feeling of it, I was like, no, I think it was okay. But I think having time now to be able to think, I think they did go a little heavy-handed with it. And I think it's the like, was it warranted? And it's because there wasn't supporting dialogue or like that paranoia.
Yeah. It feels, the Dutch angles, they feel more natural here.
Yeah.
Than they do in Dead Reckoning.
Yeah.
And I think Dead Reckoning was trying to just like nod
yes.
to the first one, whereas here the Dutch angles enhance that paranoia, enhance that uncertainty of who's who and who should we be trusting. Whereas in Dead Reckoning, we know, we've been drilled millions of times now that Tom Cruise is always going to be or Ethan Hunt is the good guy. He's always going to do what's right, and he's always going to save the world. So when you're doing Dutch angles, try to create a sense of disorientation or unsurety, it doesn't quite land because
I mean, yeah. Ethan Hunt is going.
7 movies in, Ethan Hunt is always going to be right.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas here, it works great. Can I trust Kittredge? Like, that's his supervisor, right? Like, we have this beautiful Dutch angle in that restaurant scene, and then it cuts back to Ethan, and like Ethan's coming to realize, like, wait a minute,
Something. Yeah.
I'm being set up.
Yeah.
Right? And like it cuts back and forth, and I just love, and each Dutch angle gets closer and closer.
Yes.
The camera work here is just, I love it. I think that's what I appreciate more the older I get in this first Mission Impossible movie.
You know, it's funny because I think the more and more I watch this film, I think I appreciate more and more of the delivery, the cadence of how they go about this film. Because, I mean, in fact, I think it stood out a little bit more to me because, I mean, we get Luther, Vin Rames, who's just, he's in it with, we always talk about Cruise, but, and Tom with in this film as like, this is Mission Impossible and Tom Cruise. But man, Rames he's been in it just as much.
Yeah.
He's holding his own from the beginning, and I'm excited to see what happens in the next one with his character as he's gone off to try to figure out what to do with this AI and whatever, and to figure out what he has to do in order to be part of solve the problem as a master hacker. But I truly love that in this film that the characters have these moments of like you said, this suspicion. Can I trust these people? Am I gonna fully disclose? I love with Krieger, they have the knock list. They hold the whole sleight of hand, and he throws away the fake.
Yeah.
And then, he's like, that was a real one? He's like, yeah, but I'm going to give it to you. He's like, well, how do you know I'm not going to do it? Well, what does he say? He says, I just lost it.
Because if you knew what we were stealing, you wouldn't have signed up in the first place.
Right. I just, these like verbal sleight of hands that kind of come through the dialogue. And it's just honestly, Bruce Geller, not Bruce Geller, but Robert Towne for the screenplay.
David Cope, man. I love me some David Cope.
Yeah, some David Cope and Robert Towne. Now, David Cope did the majority of the script writing.
Yeah, and David Cope famous for doing Jurassic Park. The first 2 Jurassic Parks. He's coming back for the new Jurassic Park. I think he's great at making sure, adding those moments, right?
Yeah.
And we see that in a lot of his movies, how he is able to give context around characters through dialogue. And that example was perfect, right? We know that Luther, even though, he's been disavowed, he still has a moral compass, and he would not have signed up for the mission if he knew that former colleagues of his and their identities were going to be leaked.
Yeah,
and so it shows us that he does have that moral compass, that Ethan can trust him because he's our protagonist, and therefore we can trust Ethan, but we aren't sure about the rest and what roles they're playing. And I think it's just a simple line like that. If you knew what we were stealing, you would not have stolen. You wouldn't have joined in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful, wonderful screenplay that pushes the narrative, gives us context, and also provides character development. I love it.
What are the ways that you think, or that as you've watched this movie more and more, what are some of the key factors, key things that they're doing to help build that suspicion, the paranoia, that many of the other Mission Impossibles just we don't get, but they try, and the remnant of it gives us a little bit of extra, appreciation.
I think the fact that in the first 15 minutes the whole team dies, like, I would love for Tom Cruise to do that for one of the newer ones. Like for him to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, we had what's her face die in the last one.
Oh yeah. The
what's her name?
Oh yes.
Elsa,
Yeah.
right? After 3 movies, they finally committed. And I hate them, but yeah, like finally someone dies. And like I think when you introduce your core team in that first mission, and then we get to see them as they're preparing for the Prague mission, and we see them all interacting and engaging, but they all die. Then it's like, okay, no, the stakes are high, and from a story perspective, you make the decision to kill off your characters. Therefore, no one is safe. Therefore, we create this paranoia. And again, going back to the camera work, when Ethan realizes at the restaurant that, hey, like, why were there 2 teams there? And we get these cutbacks of other agents standing behind.
Yeah.
I love those setups and payoffs, right?
Yeah.
I love that the one guy's staring at them. And as you go back and watch, like, you see so many people just observing this team.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, like, who can we trust? So by killing off your characters right within the first 15, 20 minutes, you set up that opportunity for me to not trust anyone and to bring this feeling of paranoia right from the get-go. I love that. And I think that's something that we haven't experienced in the other Mission Impossibles. One, because like Luther is the only one that has been in all of them, but like, yeah, we've had what's his name's character, the British guy.
Yeah.
He's sticking around, but like the decision to kill off Elsa was great.
Yeah.
And I think it elevated what's going to happen here in the new one.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, that was that brought some of the biggest tension. He had to make a decision. Mm-hmm. What is he going to do? What's the best option? And being distracted with not having full understanding, and also the action tension with the female assassin in that little hallway of like being held up and trying to have the opportunity to kill her but not wanting to kill her and moving forward to try to hopefully make a save, right? And
I'm not saying like every movie needs to do this.
No, of course not. But what you are saying is like, well, we need to set the stakes. And if that requires having somebody die,
or in this case, everybody,
yeah. Or having something that we know has real large value be blah, 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 then yes.
Yeah.
Right? We can say. And I mean, at the end of the day, like the IMF is taking the largest risks.
Yeah.
That's, if you choose to accept this mission. Mm-hmm. Right? And so there is that level, the understanding, like every mission that they're going to do is one that they have no safety net.
Yes.
Every single time. Right? And I think that maybe that's what, like, to some degree, they're like, we've set the stakes. You should know the stakes when you come into these missions. Mm-hmm. Right? I think it just would be nice to have it, like, to just, give us another just reminder of like these stakes, even when you're being dropped in the middle, are high.
And I think it's Rogue Nation that does something similar, where like there are agents that are being killed off, right?
Yeah.
Is it Rogue Nation or is it
what?
Or is it the third one?
No, it's the third one.
It's the third one, right? Maggie Q.
This is the
boyfriend gets killed, right? And yeah.
I was actually going to say, I actually think that of all the Mission Possibles, the third one gets the closest. They get the closest to the paranoia.
Yes.
But they take it, J.J. Abrams and team take it in like the action perspective rather than the
cerebral perspective.
Oh, yes.
Right? Yes. And again, like, it's amazing with, there is no, does Ethan Hunt shoot a gun in this first one?
Well, oh my goodness. No.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does.
Right?
Does he fights. Does he even fight anybody?
No, like he pushes Krieger back before he kills one of the security guards, right?
Yeah, but I mean, a real fight, an actual fight. No, there's like a tussle.
There's a tussle
and the helicopter with Voight and yeah. There's like
there isn't. Why does this still feel like such a great movie though? And I think it's this cerebral tension, this cerebral stakes.
Yeah.
That don't require Ethan Hunt doing backflips or anything like that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mission Impossible 2. Holy cow, man, that movie. But like it's grounded. The tension is there, the suspense is there, but it's done through the story, the characters, and what the stakes are. And again, going back to Mission Impossible 3, like we have Maggie Q's. Is it Maggie Q's? I can't. There's the one movie, right?
There's so many that I just like. But let me. No,
it isn't.
I think it's no. They're on a mission. They like all of them die, and they go to the Ethan and say, "Hey, we need some help."
Yeah. Okay. So it is. Yeah, it is Mission Impossible 3. I think it is.
Yeah, it's Maggie Q's in this one.
But like her boyfriend dies in the first one, or like in the first few minutes, and so like we're introduced to those stakes. The only thing that doesn't work quite as well, in my opinion, as this one is that this is just a side character, not even a side character, just a one-time character that's in there and he's out, never interacts with our main core ensemble team. Whereas here, like we see Ethan interacting with Emilio Estevez and the rest of the team. Right, so when they do die, it's like, oh no, like because of that, because we shared screen time and we had interactions with our protagonists, the stakes are high.
Yeah. We got to talk about the heist scene.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, I kind of want to start. Can you walk me through music in the lack of music?
9 minutes and 47 seconds of no music. I counted it. I love that. What a wonderful, like, especially like to have Danny Elfman who is scoring this and to say, Danny, we're going to show some restraint here. Do not score anything for nearly 10 minutes.
Wild. In fact, I remember watching, part of the reason why I didn't like it is like, I was just like, well, what's happening? Like, I know that, like, I knew what was happening, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't, I lost it. And I just wasn't young enough. I was not Marcel who knows what true film is.
True cinema.
No, I'm just kidding. But and the more I watch, I love that you said restraint. They restrained.
Yes.
There's no doubt in my mind that they went through revisions of trying to figure out what should we do here.
Mm-hmm. And I think I would have approached something like, no, I want music here, but maybe, especially with Danny Elfman, like maybe let's stick to some percussion sounds and very light piano here.
Yeah.
Right, like build me some tension with like some percussions in here. But no, like you show restraint, you do no score for nearly 10 minutes, and it just elevates the stakes. I love that because, again, score is usually used to help the audience find and guide what they need to be feeling at a certain moment, right? And here it's just, no, let's let the script play out. Let's let the images on screen build that suspense, build that tension. Will he survive? Will he not? And I think it just enhances that scene for the better.
Yeah. I actually, I'm like, they took it out because they couldn't have anything higher than the 10 decibels.
There you
right?
go. Yeah.
It's like, no, there's no music because,
it's so immersive.
It's an immersive. I honestly, I think that like this one moment, despite the lack of it being replicated in other moments throughout the rest of the franchise solidifies the feeling that we were looking for Mission Impossible, and why Tom has made it a mission to do something that we shouldn't be doing. They haven't done in other films or in other situations, right? 10 minutes without a score, 10 minutes of him doing this very specific acrobatic feat that needs to be done, and needs to be performed in a way that also requires not having not saying too much, not having anything touch the floor, you have only a certain amount of time, all of it, the stakes for that one scene. Like, I don't know I didn't look up the rehearsal time for it.
No,
I imagine that he had to do a whole bunch of training, much like he does all this other stuff.
They put coins in his shoes to keep him balanced on that.
To be able to get the balance for him to come out level. See, that's the small little nuances that they had to do that, right? And I think the other aspect that I love it is I truly think that no other spy film, a vault that has eye retina, and then you have to have a
voice, eye retina,
a card,
a code,
right. But then it's only one person in there. There is sensors for when it's shut, and it's only for one little computer. We don't get that anymore.
Yeah.
No, it's all like, it's on one little hard drive. I'm going to take this hard drive. I'm going to put it on a flash drive. I'm going to upload it to the cloud. We got to get it from the one cloud from one person's laptop.
Yeah.
We just got too good. This is like or too boring. Maybe we got too boring now. Now this little nuance of this very specific room that they had to get this thing is just
it's so good, and it again, like the use of camera here to for us to see him from the side as he's almost hitting right when Krieger kills the rat, and he drops him and it's just boom right at the bottom.
Yeah,
it's so great. Also, again, going back to the lack of music, I would have been the guy who would have been throw some strings in there as he's about to hit, just right, but then he catches himself.
Yeah,
we don't do that.
No.
Okay.
Also, the fact that great. He doesn't say anything.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm trying to get better educated, like you, Danny, when it comes to camera angles and learn more about cameras and whatnot. And I was learning about split diopters.
The split diopter. This has become kind of a they use it aggressively in Batman Returns.
Okay.
They have several moments where they use a split diopter, and it's actually this year that I started to recognize that how are they getting this shot? Because that's the question. You have these moments where you have two figures perfectly in frame, and yet you still have this art that shouldn't be in frame.
Yes,
that's the key. They are two characters in focus that shouldn't be in focus due to the nature of where they're positioned. Yet a split diopter allows you to get focus for two focal lengths to capture this sort of scene. And the scene is where once some person's close up, it could be full, a full face, or very close up of a face, and then a full body shot of somebody, or a mid shot, but it's a very specific stylized. The one I was thinking, I think is Penguin is doing something, and something else is happening in the background. And in this one, they have
here in the vault scene, right, as he is being lowered.
Yes,
and you have the guy sitting at the computer.
Yeah,
you have both of them in frame.
Yes,
not blurred out or anything like that. You can see both of them clearly, and I love that. That stood out to me this time because you could have easily just had the guy sitting, excuse me, the guy sitting at the computer in frame, clear, and then slowly you have Ethan coming into the frame.
Yeah.
But we see them both giving us perfect like context, getting them both in the shot, and we see them clearly. And I just think that it also adds to that like feeling of Ethan Hunt just being so observant.
Yes.
And understanding what his mission is in this moment.
There's so many different effects that come to play, and it's a stylistic choice. You are adding. There's a unique level of depth and distinction that comes from it. Like I said, you often have a character that is going to be closer up, and you have this slight like out of focus like wall that separates the person to the next to the further distance character or whatever scene or not, and the filmmakers that use this technique, it becomes very unique in when you see it on screen, and the more and it's funny because like I feel like this era they ended up using the split diopter quite a bit, and I felt like with the resolution of cameras and the way that we've gone about cinematography over the last couple of years, that like this technique kind of isn't quite always there. There was a film recently though that I was like, oh my gosh, they're using a split diopter here, and I didn't recognize this. And now I can't remember what it was, and I'm a little sad that I forgot what. But anyways, I mean, it's you the moment you recognize what it comes down to is like there's always like one movie that triggers your mind to say what's happening here.
Yeah.
And the moment you see it, you'll always see it forever. Going forwards. But if you aren't being observant, it could really
it comes and goes.
They also have it. They use it very well at the beginning, also building that sense of tension.
Yes.
They're all against the wall. They have a split diopter. They're focused. The other couple comes out and they leave again. Just this sense of suspense or paranoia.
Yeah.
Because it adds I think the level, that little like out of focus wall adds that sense of paranoia that happens. I think they also use it in the kitchen or in the kitchen scene when over my left shoulder or my right shoulder, whatever.
Oh yes.
I think they use it there too. Anyways, so good.
I love it, and again, I feel like, and this isn't me dogging on JJ or Christopher McQuarrie, but like I feel like a director of Brian De Palma's caliber to bring techniques like this and to say, yeah, I've directed, yeah, I mean he had done the Untouchables by this point, but like a director like this and bring these skill sets and these styles of filmmaking to a spy film, I think is incredible. And the latest movies, I think, rely a lot on what's the big stunt that Tom is going to do, and that's fine. Like that's what this franchise has evolved into.
Yeah,
and that's totally okay. But I do miss stuff like this, and I'm not saying that Christopher McQuarrie doesn't have.
No, of course not.
The skill set, no, but like I think it's just a different style of filmmaking, and I really, really, really love Brian De Palma's take on this.
And honestly, I think that the way I've come to term, and I think this watch for sure solidified this for me, is that at the end of the day, when we get to watch Mission Impossible 1, it's just such a special treat.
Yeah.
And even though the film, the cinematography or the filmography for this story and the franchise for this has evolved into something that does have very large blockbustery moments, and they're looking for stories that challenge, XYZ, or like, put stakes for what, Ethan is willing to do what's right, and XYZ, that we can always come back to this first one and find such a masterclass in suspense and in the tension of what set it there. and we get these other new moments and other things that happen that, and some of them really land and others don't land as well, or that we want more of. And I think maybe that's the really comes to, like, this is the only shot they had. Right.
Yeah.
They only had one. We only have one shot. Let's do it the best we can. Because it was. I mean, there was not. I mean, maybe there was an idea for a franchise, but
No way. I don't think there was.
right. Because I mean, like the first three Mission Impossible all had different directors, right? So it was like First four. You're right. First four had all different directors, and it's like, oh, what's gonna happen, and Changing Abrams is there. Maybe there's some discussion. Maybe we should bring back. Let's bring back Mission Impossible, and then it solidifies into a franchise, with the era of franchising, and it's done great.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, this film, and I think ultimately what it comes down is that De Palma is he's a master in what he wants for his shots.
Yes. Yes.
And it really, and then it amplifies the script more so than I think any other, because any other director could have taken this and it still would have been good.
Yeah.
But I think because De Palma has it, he elevates it to his level that sets like just a beautiful bar.
Yeah.
And that we're like, even if something kind of flops in some of these other ones, we're like, it's okay, man. Like, we can come back and we're still gonna always be like, nah, come on.
But look, for a 8-film franchise,
It's killed it.
And what, Mission Impossible 2 is the dud of this franchise?
Yeah, that's doing really well.
Yeah.
Of a 8-film series, franchise, having one of them being really like,
Star Wars can't say that.
No, yeah. Coming from you, bro? Whoa, man. We got, they might take your Star Wars card for that one.
Look, I love this movie. I will come back to it often. Every time there's a new Mission Impossible, I will always watch this one first and then go into the new one. I'm excited to see they're hinting that the knife is back in Dead Reckoning.
It better, dude. If
I mean, they've shown that in the trailer.
I know.
The knife is, yeah.
I know, and I'm saying, and the guy comes back.
Which guy?
The
Keatridge.
Keatridge is there, but
Yeah.
the guy who's at the computer is also back.
Yeah.
And so,
Also, what was his job exactly?
I don't know. Sit in the room.
What is this? What is this guy doing? He sits in this room.
I'm so glad that you brought it up.
What is he like? Is he uploading? What is he? What is his job?
There's not Messenger. He gets an email. He's just waiting until something happens.
Is the only data on this computer the knock list?
No, I think there's other data. I think there is some kind of additional communication, or maybe it's a report thing, but it's not clear. I don't think it's clear.
I was just like, at the end of the sequence, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this guy? What is his job?
No.
Can I have his job? Just go in and click here and there, and all right, I'm done. I'm gonna go to the break room and just hang out.
No, now we have Slack, bro.
Yeah.
We don't get cool shit anymore.
This guy's job is completely obsolete now. You don't need to be paying some dude $200K to just sit in a room a year.
$200K to lock it up in the cloud.
Yeah.
Now we just have the cloud, bro.
I love how Keatridge sent him to a communications tower in Alaska.
Yeah.
Keatridge. Brutal, dude.
Brutal, bro.
Keatridge.
No one can ever know about this.
Brutal. I love Keatridge. So good.
I'm truly honestly just watching this again. I mean, I love Keatridge but the fact that he came back
took way too long to do.
Way too long. But I almost feel that I'm glad they took that long. Because then when you get to watch him in Dead Reckoning, and I'm hoping again in this new one with Final Reckoning that we he just gets to deliver these lines, Sydney just very articulated and wondering and intense lines. It's just, man, come on.
Here's my theory.
Ooh.
Emilio Estevez is back. And he is the AI. They uploaded his conscience into an AI. And the movie, at some point, he's going to say, what is it? Something about lasagna, don't get it on ya? That line. Freaking Emilio Estevez, dude.
Emilio Estevez. Dude, that's freaking lasagna, don't get it on you. Look, I am very excited for this movie. I'm also pretty nervous too. I think it's gonna be good. I'm gonna enjoy it. I think that they're not. It's like it probably won't like.
Okay, no. Let's talk Dead Reckoning for a bit.
Okay,
and we'll finish up with this. I'm excited. You're excited. I'm concerned about the ramifications of a $300+ million Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
And what that means for the film industry, what it means for the franchise, what it means for Tom Cruise. Like, I don't think people have realized this. This movie costs way too much.
Massive expensive.
I will be surprised if it hits 80 million on its opening weekend.
Let's see. Hold on. What did Thunderbolts make? Thunderbolts made 76 million opening domestic box office. 162 million.
74 million, you said? Yeah.
76. I have 76.
Oh, okay.
Do you have 74?
Yeah.
76 million for opening weekend. Okay. And the movie itself, the reason why I was bringing that up is because, like, I don't know. I was trying to think of, like, because you have, alternatively, you had Minecraft opening weekend box office numbers of 157 million.
Dang.
Did you know that? They had a massive
opening weekend.
And their global total was 301 million.
301?
Yeah.
And whatchamacallit? Thunderbolts currently gross worldwide is at 326 million.
So Mission Impossible is 300 million for the film.
Minimum, yeah.
Not talking marketing costs.
Yeah.
Right, which is fine. But this film, and it's kind of a toss-up. We are early summer kickoffs. This is the like launch of summer kickoff. Okay? And we have a lot of films coming out this summer that really does beg the question, will it be a movie that people will choose to see?
I hope people go out and see it.
I do too.
Yeah, I hope people go out and see it. I want it to be successful in that point just because I want to see more. Not necessarily with Tom Cruise, but I want to see more of this story. I know Paramount has talked about wanting to do a series now that they have their own streaming service. Is that an outlet for them? Sure, maybe. Why not? But I would love to continue more of this film, of this universe. You had Jim Phelps, who was the original protagonist of the 60s series, come back here as a villain, right? And then Ethan Hunt carries it on. Why can't we continue this universe with someone else carrying it on, right? Yeah. So yeah, I hope it's successful, but I find it very hard that I'll be surprised if this movie breaks 100. I'll be surprised if it breaks 80 million opening weekend. Sorry.
You think I think it'll cross 100. No, it's not going to cross 100. Okay, my bet is it crosses 92 million.
I think it'll be like 70.
Okay, so you say 70, I'm going to say 92. No, it's not going to. Well, what did Dead Reckoning do? That was a rough weekend. Okay,
but but this one does have that month of like. I
forgot how bad this was. it was over the weekend for opening was 56.2 million. This is a better. There's a lot of wins that is going into this one, but you're probably right. It's probably only going to make 80.
We'll see, dude. I'm sticking to 70.
But if it's going to be the final, they're going to be able to do box sets or like they're like collector sets and whatever.
And I think the biggest. They're relying a lot on IMAX.
Yeah.
He has IMAX screens for the next 3-4 weeks.
Which I actually do think is a big win. That actually, even though maybe opening weekend may not be great, it could get him what they need in order to be fine.
Yeah.
Because
are you going to see this in IMAX?
I want to.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode as we discussed Mission Impossible, a lovable and very classic film that we have. Don't forget to subscribe to us wherever you listen to your podcast or on YouTube.
And we want to hear from you. What's your favorite Mission Impossible movie? How excited are you for Final Reckoning? You can always connect with us by joining our newsletter at realchums.com/newsletter. You can also connect with me, Marcel, on Instagram and Threads at Marstrosity, MarCtrosity.
And you can find me at review.tv.
Join us next week as we continue our look at movies hitting significant anniversaries with Apollo 13 as it turns 30 years this summer.
See you then.
Later.